G'day guys, today we take a look at the Makita 40V impact drop. What? Not
Wrong
yet?
one.
Oh, sorry guys. For years this was the top Makita drill. This is a hammer drill or combi drill. It is the DHP481 or the XPH007, I think. No, just 07. Yeah, not a Bond drill. It has 125 Newton meters, depending on where you look. Other places 115. Makita have been a bit vague about it over the years. Somewhere between 100 and 125 they've advertised it as over the years. It's been around a long time. A lot of people have been calling for an upgrade to this tool. And a lot of other tool companies have made tools that are now stronger than this one. But for a long time this was as good as cordless drills get. Until today. This is the new Makita 40V HP001G. It has a peak torque rating of 141 Newton meters. It is rated to drill hole saws up to 152 millimeters. That's huge. And 50 millimeter auger bits. It is said to be 35% faster than the 18V equivalent you just saw. As you can see, it's quite small in the hand. It's much shorter than the previous model. It has a ridiculous amount of settings down here on the clutch. The electronic clutch has 41 torque settings in the low mode and 21 in the highest gear. And they are the biggest difference with this drill over the predecessor. More on that in a minute. Like I say, it is a hammer drill, so it has a hammer function, obviously. The screwing function, which is what all the torque settings are for, and drilling. Personally, with the 18V model, I mainly use this drill for drilling. For screwing, I use an impact driver, and for hammer drilling, I use a rotary hammer drill. That might change somewhat with this tool when we have a look at some of the other features. It has a 2-speed gearbox. It is rated for 20mm drills in steel and 20mm in concrete. That's huge for a combi drill. I say combi drill, that's what they call it over in the UK. Here we call it a hammer drill. Some places it even gets called an impact drill. That seems to confuse a lot of people between one of these and one of these. Oh, not yet. Comes with a ridiculously long handle, same as the last drill did, but this one has a bit more meat around this area that holds it on, and the shaft is much more substantial. The length has been achieved by the space saving in this region of the tool. The old school 18V. The clutch settings are mechanical on here. As you can see, you turn them around from 1 to 21. So that area there is no longer on the new tool because it is an electronic version down here. So that's basically sort of the reason why they've saved in the length. As you can see, the new one is slightly higher than the old one, but it's down to the battery being bigger. The tool itself is no bigger. With the batteries on, 2,466 grams, nearly 2.5 kgs, and the new 40V, 2,689 grams, nearly 2.7 kgs. So substantially heavier, sort of 250 grams heavier. Feels quite nice though, I have to say. Even with my left hand it feels good. And they say it feels different with your left hand, feels like someone else, but it feels good. So as I say, I don't usually use the clutch settings, but I might start doing it with this drill because she's got a few tricks up her sleeve. To activate this area down here, you need to put it into screw, like so. You'll now see numbers down the bottom. We are in the second gear. So the numbers are designed so as you're holding it, if you're holding it in your right hand, you look down and the numbers are up the right way. You don't look at the drill from the front to see the numbers, you look at it from the back. So 21. You then, to move them, push the unlock button. Green light will come on. You can then cycle through the numbers. Now, unlike the old school model, where every setting from 21 right down to 1, the speed doesn't change. On this one, however, the speed does change, so you have way more control if you're trying to do small screws. So if we put this on 21, plenty of power. Put it down onto 1, and the tool is electronically controlling the speed. So let's go. We're on 1. Let's go 2. Slightly different. 3. Different again. 4. We're now up to 10. I think from about 10 onwards it's the same. No, maybe. No, they are still changing. Now on 21. So it's running at the same speed from 16 to 21. Below that, you could hear it change through every single setting. So rather than just have the clutch setting controlling when the drill stops driving your screw, you have that speed control as well. So that's quite good. It's much more useful than the old-fashioned way, which I just thought was a pain in the bum, to be honest, and impact drivers are just so much better. Now that's on gear 2. When you put it on first gear and you have it on screw mode, all of a sudden 41 settings. 41. Let's just try them out here. Flat out. And finally, gear 1. In the first gearbox setting, you get changes from 1 up until 12 in the clutch settings, and then from 13 up to 41, same speed the whole way. Whereas in the higher setting, you get from 1 to 16, you get changes in speed, and then from 16 to 21, it seemed all the same. I will put the extended version of me going through all these clutches one by one on my other channel if you want to see those. Both of the tools come with a Kiwi. I don't know if that's how you say it. Somebody will correct me, I know. Chuck. And they're sort of locking chucks, if you're not aware of these. They're single-handed locking chucks. Now, this one has never worked all that great. This new Makita one is a bit better. It's a slightly shorter unit as well, the chuck. So if you have it completely open as it is now, nothing in it, you try and turn it, and that clicking, it's the clicking you want when you're doing the last little bit of tightening. So if it's doing that, if you're unaware of how to change it, you just go like that, and then it turns freely. And then when your bit is in it, you can then do the final couple of clicks. Although so many of us will really not notice that much because we take the bits in and out just like so. So you don't really worry too much about the chuck tightening. Anyway, enough talk, let's go do some damn drilling with this thing. We'll try one of these 1-inch speed bore bits with both of the tools, the 18 and the 40 max. By the way, 40 volt max, in case you don't know, in case you're thinking what's different between a 40 and a 36, nothing at all, just marketing. I would like to try something bigger than this, but we are currently in lockdown here, and Bunnings and all those sort of places are all closed. There's nowhere I can rush out and grab a bigger self-feeding drill bit, so that's a bit of a bugger. But I could use a hole saw, but as you know, hole saws, they bog up. It's not a very good test because they're going to bog up at different times, and it's going to be a pain in the butt to test that. However, I do have this evil looking Force-Nibbit. This is a 100mm or 4-inch redos of nasty Force-Nibbit. I think I'll try this with the 40 volt first, just in case I bugger it on the 18 volt and we don't get to test it on the 40. Might leave that till last. I guess we better chuck in some screws and things as well, check out some of these settings down here, see how they all function. There's a lot to be done. Oh, I never gave you the numbers. As written on the tool, 39,000 beats per minute for the hammer drill. On gear 2, on gear 1, 9,750. On the gears for drilling, on the lowest gear, 650 RPM, and on the highest, 2,600. By comparison, the old one is 2,100 RPM and 31,500 on the beats for the highest setting. It's a 4x3 treated post with a Corella in the background. Shut up! Just for comparison. But before you can use one of these Forstner bits like this in a hand drill, you first need to do a starter hole in something like a drill press. Shit! Can you see that there? Let's go back into the light. Poked before we even begin. Here's the lesson here, boys and girls. Don't buy cheap shit from China. So here is one of my test rigs. We're a shade under 400 millimeters, 16 inches, and we're going to be drilling with this 12 millimeter half-inch drill bit, auger bit. I will now compare the electronic clutch on the new drill with the old school one on the 18 volt DHP481. I'll start off with some 32mm jib board screws, plasterboard screws, drywall screws, gyprock screws, whatever you want to call them. Plasterboard screws is what they are. They will all be driven in the screw setting on both tools in gearbox 1 to begin with, and I'll start on setting 1 on each one and we'll see how we do. I'm not going to go through every single setting because there's 62 on this drill alone and 42 on this one, so this video would be 4 hours long and none of us want that. Now, unlike the old version, I still have my finger on the trigger. It cuts out. The electronic clutch cuts out rather than doing the da 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 da. Okay, we'll now go up to 5. It's gone just below the surface with the old one, and the new one, 40 volt, stopped. Pretty much exactly the same level, but just stops outright. That's quite nice. I prefer that feature to that annoying And one of the reasons I never used the 18 volt force screwing is just too annoying. Let's try some bigger screws. I am screwing into a stack of pine measuring approximately 115mm thick. Now going to drive some 10 gauge 50mm stainless steel screws, and we will start with the 5 setting on gearbox 1, 18 volt drill. Let's go. Okay, it doesn't quite get it in on that level. We'll take it up to 7. Take it up to 8. Well, let's go 9. A lovely noise. It's almost flush, so we'll take this one up to 9 also. Push the button. Man, they're pretty similar in setting. Yeah, the settings are very similar to the old model, which is good if you're used to certain numbers for certain things. They should be pretty much the same. Next up, 10 gauge 65mm screws. We'll start on setting 12. That was about perfect. See if this one's the same on 12. Look at that. That's good. I like that. Much quieter, much simpler, easier to control. The speed sort of controls itself. Unlike this one where you've just got the 1 speed setting. What have we got next? Next up, 12 gauge 65mm. We've got the settings on 15. Oh, look at that. Just stopped perfectly flush. Fantastic. Right. Full on batten screws now, I reckon. Right, starting to get into the big stuff. We have 14 gauge galvanized 75mm long batten screws. We will start on level 17, gearbox 1. Man, they stop in exactly the same place. It's brilliant. 100mm 14 gauge stainless batten screws. Let's ramp up the settings to 19. No holes, of course, drilled for any of these, as you can see. Didn't quite get that one right. Should have gone to 20. We'll do this one on 20. Ooh. Didn't make it in either. Actually didn't even go as far as the last one, I don't think. Each one of those stops was not me taking my finger off the trigger, it was the tool stopping by itself, so that's good. You can just do those last couple of pulses to get it flush. Very good. Okay, the next size screw is going to go through my test bed and into my bench. But we have to give it a go, don't we? So let's go 125mm. And we'll crank this right up to 21. Crank this one up to 21. So that's about as far as that one can go. So we've stopped short. But like I say, you can do that last little bit. Now that's the end for this one, top setting. This one still has another 21 to go. And that's just on gear 1 of the 2-speed gearbox. On gear 2, another 21. So this one, 42 settings, this one 62. I will now try it on, say, something in the middle. Let's go about 30. Let's go 31. And I will drive, see if I can drive 150mm straight through this bench. 40 volt, setting 31, gearbox setting 1, 150mm batten screw. Well, there we go. I actually had to take my finger off the trigger then, so I didn't do myself an injury. So on level 31, it drove that no problem. So 41, well, it's hardly even necessary, you would think. What this is going to be able to do is actually drive screws on the screw setting, no matter what size they are by the looks. Whereas this is limited, as you saw. That was as much as it could do. And after that, what I usually do is just have it in drill setting to put in big screws. And that's one of the reasons I never really used this and preferred using an impact driver. Not yet. This is much more useful, I feel, for putting in screws. The drill one, it's all or nothing, you know. When it catches on anything, it's just going to spin you around. Right round, baby, right round. And the screw setting will help prevent that with the clutch. So even if you're on maybe the higher settings in the 30s to 40, it will, because it has a electronic kickback feature, if it catches and tries to jerk round, it should, in theory, cut out so you don't do yourself an injury. Here's a couple of screws I drove in the drill mode a few days ago. This is the largest screw I have available. I can't go and get anything bigger, we're in lockdown, but I think this will prove the point. This is a 280mm long galvanized 10mm thread diameter landscape screw. I'm going to have to go modify my rig to drive this in, because this one here is a little bit short. Right, let's lock and load gearbox speed 1, torque setting 41. That cut off by itself. Absolutely perfect. Can it get it back out? Same settings. Piece of piss. Right, let's wrap this up like Friday night's fish and chips and give you a verdict on what I think about the new 40 volt Max Hammer Drill, Combi Drill. I find it a lot easier to quickly see what gear you're in with the new tool, with the big number 2 in white there on the top. Much easier than this with the very hard to see numbers, and sometimes you at a glance, depending on which tool you grab and which one you're used to, hard to know which gear it is actually in. The 18 volt is a good drill. It's been a staple for many Makita users for a long time now, but I think its day is done. The HP001G is the bee's knees. It's the bomb. It's the shit, man. It is one awesome mother of a drill. And as I'm summing up this drill, I've just realized I've made a glaring omission. It's great for drilling. It is great for driving screws. I haven't checked the concrete drilling yet. I haven't used it in hammer mode. Dope! Is this video going to get longer, or shall I save it for the next one? 11mm drill bit, 18 volt. $11mm on the 40 volt. And after doing that, I am reminded why I always use a rotary hammer to drill in concrete. Now, some people will already be typing in the comment section, you should use these for masonry, not concrete. It doesn't matter what I drill into, you're going to complain. I've drilled into clay, bricks, concrete blocks, solid concrete. Every time I drill into something, I get somebody in the comment section who has a problem with it. And you can't win against those people. So anyway, looking forward to this rotary hammer drill, the new 40 volt review coming soon. So let's end this thing. I don't know how many weeks I've been recording this for now. We're up to, what's the date? Oh yeah, I've had this 3 weeks now. Let's finish it off. This video is probably already 3 hours long, I don't know. Many nights of editing ahead. It's a fantastic drill. I love it. I'm not going to be using it in the hammer mode, so I don't care what that's like. But, I mean, it shakes the daylights out of you. I know some of you will say, oh, you're doing it in the wrong speed and everything. Yeah, I tried doing it on speed 1 and, you know, it takes a millennia. Speed 1, 11mm, 40 volt. If you just want to drill small things in concrete, little 6mm holes and stuff like that, piece of cake. But as for the bigger stuff, get a rotary hammer. The screw settings are fantastic. There's so many settings on there. I mean, you're not going to use probably 80% of them, but once you've found the ones you like for your particular application, your particular job that you do, then it's great. It's got so many options that you're bound to find something that suits you down to the ground. Forgot to mention earlier, I think that, you know, it comes with a depth stop. Solid metal one as well, not one of those crappy plastic ones that some tool companies give out. When it comes to drilling, it's an absolute beast. I haven't got anything really bad to say about it. I don't know if it's the most powerful cordless drill around. Somebody will tell me what that is in the comment section, no doubt. Milwaukee will get a mention, of course, as will DeWalt. The big thing people want to know about these 40 volt tools is, are they a huge improvement? Is it worth upgrading? Because most of the guys that are going to buy these already have these. They already have the 18 volt line, of course. So they want to know, you guys want to know, is it worth upgrading to the 40 volt stuff? For this particular tool, I would say 100%. Is it twice as good? Is 36 volts twice as good as 18 volt? No, it's not. It's never going to work like that. But it is a vast improvement. The features down here on the electronic clutch, fantastic. The extra drilling power is fantastic. It is a great tool, and I imagine I'm going to use it more than I use the 18 volt because those screw settings are so good. Be great for driving in larger screws, big batten screws, landscape screws. That's another of the Makita 40 volt max tools ticked off. We've still got a few more to go, another 3 or so. So keep tuned. We'll even have a look at this one day. Thanks for watching, guys. See you on the next one. This tool is a beast. The Makita 40 volt max XGT. Extra grunty torque. I assume that's what it stands for. Might be extra grunty tool. Let me know what you think XGT stands for in the comments below. You're talking away to yourself here like a crazy person.